welcome back, guys. Now, there's something I want to share with you today, and on this episode, we're going to be looking at TB. It's something that I would like to share with you guys. Okay, bear with me. This is something that I wrote down. Welcome back, guys. As you know, this is the episode of the drill. Deep state and drill. Now, this is what I want to look at here. Is what you're seeing here is just a note down of the sequence of events. Now, the first on the first line you have Charade and Horse Trail. Now the murder of Charade happened in 2012. This would have been around 2012. And now this sequence of events, as you can see, these chain of events will all be connected. There'll be at least a person involved. There'll be like 1 degree of separation between these names. On the second line, we have BT, who was at this point. What you have to remember is that the government, they have these individuals under a program where they're being tracked. Now they're being tracked simultaneously as they're going about their normal lives. You know, some of these individuals would have been in high school, but they would have been trapped in high school. Some of these individuals would have been possibly, they would have a girlfriend, but their girlfriend was a secret agent. And this now leads to BT, because it was known that he was ambushed by J Money, King Von and Troy, and also C Murder, while he was visiting his girlfriend, who lived in a particularly out of town area. Now, on his visit there, this is when he was ambushed. Now, this sort of connection would again revisit on the murder of J Money, who was also now visiting his girlfriend, who lived on the opposition block. She was from Jaro, and now she's a part of O Block. This is, of course, she was visiting Lisa. So, who, by all intents and purposes, is a somebody who would have been also be a pawn by the government, because even though she's from this Jaro area, the Jaro area, the reality of these two places is that they're the same place. They just happen to be a street or two over. So in other circumstances and in other places, these would be considered to be the same area, because they use the same church, they use the same amenities. So they really are the same area. They have the same church, so which, normally an area is defined by a church. So J Money was ambushed by KI and Little B in 2015 while he was visiting his girlfriend. And following on to that, you have KI, who was ambushed by King Von, Big A and Troy. You see, for each incident we have a reoccurring, the names there isn't more than there isn't more than a degree in separation between these names. Now, this is the one that possibly is a wild card, is that we have Big A, and he was ambushed by unknown assailants. However, mind you, in the previous, the people we were led to believe, or the names that were first out there, would have been Ki and Get Right. Now, Ki's brother, rather, G.I. Joe, he was a name that was first thrown in there. So this is kind of like a giveaway also of how the agents are using sort of like a propaganda, like to fuel the fire between these two areas. So it adds more to the romance, is that, okay, Big A was G.I. Joe got retaliation for his sister. So it adds more to the story. And around 2017, because they had a sort of like a peace treaty which was signed by the church. The church helped to broker a peace treaty around the time of Big A's death. In fact, the death of Big A would have been the incident that broke the peace treaty. So there would have been a years of peace. There would have been a year of peace where there would have been a ceasefire around 2015 going into 2016, because also there's a between Ki and Big A we have Little B. Now this was very important, but this was kind of left out until the end of the page. Little B was actually slain by the police, who they said, when they shot him, they said that he was resisting arrest. They followed him down this certain side street. Chicago is built off, there's a lot of alleys there. So they said that they found him appearing to be suspicious. They asked him to stop. He refused to stop. Then they shot him. Now, Little B was a kind of character that, they possibly couldn't they couldn't set him up with a female or a rival member or somebody within his own set, because he was one of the most respected. He was one of the most respected of the members. So the police, in this case, this one was there wasn't no hiding this one. Now this is something that they will do that would also appear later down the line, because this isn't something that they can constantly, how many times are you going to shoot somebody for resisting arrest? It doesn't always happen, because normally the gang members, they don't normally oppose the police, because obviously this is where the manipulation comes from. This is that opposing your people that are behind this cause. Now it's important to kind of mention that, because that would be the first break where the police would actually be involved outright. Following on from Troy, we have around 27. Following on will be Troy. This would be around 2017. This would have happened on Valentine's Day. Now this one was also odd, or raised eyebrows, because what you got to believe here is that he was also the most respected member from his gang. He was the most respected member of O Block, and he happened to be out of town on 71st, which is the east end of the south side of Chicago. He was at 71st, where none other than TB happened to live. So he was unawares. Now, a lot of people that knew Troy, you know, we've heard King Von say, like, how does this happen to Troy when he was the one who taught me? He was the go-to, he was the head security for O Block. In so many words, he was the head security. As you can see now, the puppeteers are starting to build. Now, this is dedicated to the memory of TB, who we've had also the video that has come out where you can actually see the incident of Troy being slain on video. Now, this means that it was on camera, and the authorities have released the video. So now O Block are down by their most respected member, which would also be followed by the slaying of Brick. You know, on the left here, just below, we have Brick. He would have been the most respected member of STL, who he also happened to have been the person that was known to have seen Troy in these out of bounds area when he was on 71st. Now, the intangible here is that Troy was visiting an unknown assailant. Now, that unknown assailant would have been would have had a mutual relationship with FBG Brick, which means that the mutual assailant would most likely also have been an agent, because how you've got to remember now is they've already put the working or their approach would have also started to, the wheels would have started to turn on FBG Brick, because these guys are, for all intents and purposes, targets. These are all targets. These are empowered, targeted individuals that are sought after by the government. Now, following on after Brick, we have HK, who was the known triggerman on that particular incident. Now, this is where the retaliation kind of took on this get back moniker, which normally things like you can tell that these would have been terms that were coined by the authorities. People don't pluck normally these sort of things out of thin air. These things are manufactured catchphrases. Nike, just do it. Coca-Cola, always Coca-Cola. So you got to remember, Coca-Cola is also 33. Following on, we have HK now, who is starting to build a reputation for himself for being Mr. Get Back. So now he is now becoming a target for an unknown assailant, and an unknown assailant is normally a cold word on this particular, a cold word for an agent. An agent, an unknown agent, a 007 or a a undercover agent, a secret agent, because as you can see here, we have the unknown assailant, whom is an intelligent agent. So, there would have been, this person was actually called in and questioned about the incident, and he was released by self-defense. He was released on self-defense. This would have been then following on after the HK, things died down around because that would have been 2017, 2018, 2017, the end of 2017. King Von comes out of his release from trial. He's released from trial. He's acquitted from trial on his case. So now, as soon as he's released, he is now on the target list again, because normally all prisoners are targets. All prisoners are targets. By that we mean is that the prison system, Cook County, belongs to the deep state. So normally people that end up finding themselves in prison, they would have come from impoverished backgrounds, or they would have been a product of their environment. Now, these are the things that we want to bear in mind, is that yes, we do have so-called people that do wrong and so-called people that commit crimes, but in this case, as the targeted community, what we're looking at is we're pointing at the real criminals, the real offenders. Now, the real offenders, for all intents, would be the deep state, because if the deep state were not manipulating events, then there wouldn't be that many people in the prisons system. So, things will go out of town here for the incident with King Von. This happens, he's lured to Atlanta. He's has been a target for most of his life, because he spent most of his life in and out of prison. So he's lured to Atlanta, where we have him to be, where he's shot by a Little Tim, who's part of Quando Rondo's team. Now, Little Tim is, for all intents and purposes, an agent. Now, guys, the reason why he's an agent is because he would have been prepped, trained, and also given assurances that he would not do any time. So here is somebody who they use as a pawn to shoot King Von on what is a staged event. So they shoot King Von because they know that he has a great chance of getting off by self-defense. And also, as we are on that same fateful night, November the 6th, 2020, he would also be shot alongside HK's brother, Mark Blake, who would also be shot alongside him by none other than the police. Now, in this situation, guys, they were on duty. So King Von is shot by a undercover agent, whereas Mark is shot by an official agent. So there isn't any degrees of separation on that case. Which also, just to bring this video to a close, and just to touch on again on the little B topic, is that he was also slain by the police. Now, as you can see here, police or the deep state rather are basically manipulating all of their events behind the scenes. Now this video is dedicated to all the fallen individuals, all the fallen empowered individuals. May they find peace and mercy in the afterlife. May God Father grant them mercy and rest their souls. Okay, that'll be it for this episode. Now, hope you guys are well. God bless. Love you all.